Hi and welcome to the screencast. This is your host Mohammad Azam, and in this screencast I will show you what caching is all about in ASP.NET and how you can increase your performance of your application if you're using caching. So we are going to look at the normal caching, in which there are no parameters and the caching is done only by the duration, and we're also going to see a parameter based caching in which each query string parameter is actually cached. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a label which is already there. What I'm going to do over here in the code behind is I'm going to assign the label to a to the time, so which is datetime.now.toLongString. All right, so let's run this page and display the time. So as you can see that now the time is actually being displayed. So if I refresh, the millisecond is actually increasing. Okay, you can actually see this changing. So this actually shows that the page is not being cached right now. Okay, so if I want to cache the page, I can simply go over here and I can say, oops, output cache duration is, let's say, for 5 seconds, or let's say for 10 seconds, and I would say vary by parameter equal to none, because there are no parameters involved in this. So let's run the page again. You will see that the time is displayed, and now if I refresh the page, you will actually see that the time is not changing. That's because the request has been cached. Now what that means is that it's in your browser cache, so there will be no fetching time. Okay, and the only fetch time is when the 10 seconds or the duration that I have set passes, and in that case it's fetch again. Let's go ahead and pull up our the Firebug, and let's see the request. Now you can also see over here that there is no request going on over here, and after the 10 seconds have passed, then the request will actually go, and you can actually see now that there is no request. So caching actually improves the performance of the page because you don't have to go to the server again and again for the same data. Okay, now let's say that you don't want to cache like this. Maybe you want to cache like for a button. Okay, I mean for a query string. So let's go over here and add a button which will actually redirect to a different page, products page. So I have a button 1 run at server, text is get me products. All right, and on click is get me products, click. And let's go over here and implement the button click. All right, and now what we are going to do is we are going to transfer to the products page. The products page doesn't display basically anything, but we are going to transfer it to the products page, and let's see. Okay, so we are going to say response redirect. Okay, and we are going to the basically it's over here, products.aspx, and what we're going to do is append the product ID. Okay, and what I'm going to do is say over here is product ID 1. All right, so go to the products page, and the query string in that case will be product ID 1. So let's go over here and create a label which is a label product ID. All right, and another label, let's create another label, and we will call this LBL date time. All right, and we are going to make this both of these into H2, which is a heading 2, which is kind of big, and maybe this. All right, so the products actually page over here. Now let's see what actually happens. So let me close that and run the page. Actually, I need to go over here and assign the product. So I'm going to say product ID dot text equal to, and I need to get the product ID from the request. So request dot query string, it will be product ID. All right, and I can say as string. Well, it's actually a number, but you can actually display it as string. It doesn't really matter. And for the label time dot text, I'm going to say date time dot now dot too long. All right. So let's run this page. Oops. And so let's say get me products, and you are going to go to the product ID 1, and actually, as you can see, it displays 1. All right. And let's request this again, and you will see that the time is actually changing. All right. So let's go and say product ID 12. So now the product ID 12 is actually displaying this time. And of course, you can see that the time is being changing. So now the problem with this is that if I go back to the product ID 1, you will see that the request is again made. And why do we even need a request when someone else, some other user, have already requested the same product listing or the same product with the ID 1? So we can actually cache this. Okay. So let's go ahead over here in the products page, and we're going to see that we are going to cache this request. So I can say, okay, cache it for 15 seconds and vary by parameter. Yes, you are going to change the parameter, and you will see product ID. So basically now the caching is based on the product ID. So if you request for the product ID 2, so that cache request will be different from the cache copy of the product ID 5. So let's go ahead and run this page. And let's see if I can open another page and copy this. So now I have 2 pages open, or 2 browsers actually open. Oops. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to say, okay, get me products. So it's going to go over there and with the ID 1. So let's go over there again, and you will see that the time is now same. So both the times are now same for 15 seconds, and if I refresh, I will get the same time because 15 seconds haven't passed. All right. Now I can go ahead and change this to 12, and check this time. It's 7:13:46. I'm going to go over here and say 12, and you will see that the same result is actually coming, which means that the copy that a different user, so this is a different user, if he's fetching a different copy, the same copy, he will get the cached version of the copy for 15 seconds. Of course, if 15 seconds have passed, and of course it will change, and now this guy will get the copy of this person. So caching actually improves the performance. You don't have to make a request again and again to the web server to ask for the same data, which can be stored in the cache of the browser. Okay, and that's pretty much it. I hope you like this video, and stay tuned for more. One last request: go to High on Coding, and let me actually go there so that you will know the address. So High on Coding, you can actually go and subscribe to the feeds that it has, and as the title says, it gets you high on ASP.NET articles, and you can read about different things. You can listen to the podcast, and the podcast will be hopefully be updated every week. There's a subscribe button, so you can subscribe whatever feed that you are using, or whatever feed reader you are using, and you can read the different articles, watch different videos. All right, so enjoy the website. I hope you like this video, and thank you very much.